Holy cow.
We have 11 more minutes, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, part 2, Detail Finite Scheduling at the Floor, Proof of Concept in 4 weeks. My name is Rob Norris, and I will be your moderator. I am pleased to introduce to you today's speakers. First is Prabhu Natarajan. He is the director of the DELMIA practice at R3D International, and he will introduce a business problem statement and the introduction of the potential solution using DELMIA Ortems. Then Eric Ibarra, Vice President of Global Service Delivery at R3D International, will explain to us how we could prove the solution concept with Ortems in 4 weeks for your organization. Lastly, Saurav Gangley, Senior Director, North American Customer Process Experience at Dassault Systems, and Manoj Gajkeshwar, DELMIA Sales at Dassault Systems, will introduce Dassault and its DELMIA brand, which is the global leader in software solution manufacturing operations management. Now, before I hand the mic over to our speakers, I have a few housekeeping items to cover. First, today's webinar is being recorded and available to view in our digital channels. So watch out on our website and social media channels for the posting. Next, we would love to hear from you during this webinar. So if you have a question for our speakers, please use the chat function in your webinar dashboard. We'll also provide email addresses for direct contact afterwards at the end of the webinar. Now I'd like to kick things off by welcoming Prabhu Natarajan, the Director of the DELMIA practice at R3D International. Over to you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Rob. Good afternoon. Hope and trust all of you are staying healthy and being safe. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce you to an innovative, intuitive, intelligent solution for scheduling production activities in the shop floor. Before that, allow me to walk you through the challenges and the requirements of the industry. The master scheduler in a manufacturing industry is often at crossroads. He has to cater to the needs of the sales team, the production team, the purchasing team, the maintenance team, and yet he has to come up with a production schedule. The scheduling tools that are available to them do not make their lives easier. Most of the time, these are tools handed over to them by their predecessors. They come up with schedules that are unrealistic because of fluctuating demands, resource constraints. ERP master data is very good for ERP, but unfortunately is not structured for a scheduling engine. The current scheduling tools do not offer solutions to perform a what-if simulation to perform a mock-up of the constraints. Based on statistics, you will find that the employee turnover amongst the planners and schedulers is the highest in the manufacturing industries. One common theme expressed by them is pressure and frustration. Why pressure? Because they have to rely on multiple sources, internal and external, to come up with an optimal plan or a production schedule. Frustration because they do not have the right tools or software to perform their jobs efficiently and come up with an optimum schedule. The COVID pandemic has brought upon us more confusion, unreliable sales forecasts, unbalanced and unpredictable cash flow. Production and logistics operations are being hampered by social distancing. The supply chain has been disrupted as suppliers are facing the same problems as a manufacturer. Are we able to have an optimal schedule considering the various fluctuations? During pre-COVID times, we found it difficult to introduce new products to the market in an efficient manner. And now it's become even more difficult, and most manufacturers are either shelving their ideas or lining up for a launch after mid of 2021 or later. All of us are aware of the bullwhip effect that hits a market once in 4 or 5 years. And now this has increased tremendously after COVID-19. The bullwhip effect has increased wild fluctuations in inventory in response to a shift in customer demand. The customer demand has either increased or decreased drastically. The supply chain from raw material providers to manufacturers is also disrupted, and this impacts the distributors, the retailers, and causes delays before the customer has a product. So what do we need to overcome these hurdles?
Prabhu, give me one second. I have a technical constraint. Give me a second for a minute.
Okay.
Go to display setting and say switch display. Okay, we are good.
Next slide, please. Okay. So what is the need of the hour? What do we need to overcome the generic problems and the COVID-induced hurdles for the schedulers? We need a solution that is agile and can deliver rapid and precise and reliable results. The solution should be flexible without having to rely on software developers to make changes or help perform simulations. The solution should be able to help schedulers to visualize easily and rapidly and come up with an efficient, trustworthy, and optimized plan taking into account several constraints. It's with great pleasure that we introduce you to DELMIA Ortems production scheduler solution from Dassault Systems. The production scheduler solution more than adequately addresses all the challenges faced by a scheduler. With Ortems production scheduler, now you have a solution that helps you to perform scheduling for next day or for the next week. Primarily, we're looking at a short-term, firm, realistic schedule with a defined start and a defined end date for each operation, while respecting the relationship between operations and taking into account all constraints. Now, what are the business scenarios that have been addressed by the Ortems production scheduler solution? There could be a demand change. You could also simulate a demand change by adding an order or changing order quantities. You can simulate a partial or a total order cancellation and check how it impacts your resources and how it impacts your schedules. The solution also allows you to reroute a production flow and better utilize the machineries available on your production line. It can take into account mission downtimes, tool times. It can also suggest a shift modification when a total or a partial plant closure occurs. It takes into account the labor force into play. It can look at unplanned worker absences. It can also predict increased labor if there is a higher demand that's coming up. The solution also allows you to simulate multiple what-if scenarios for scheduling, and you can check with the KPIs what is the best solution that addresses your need for the day or for the week. Next slide, please. So the detailed production scheduling is from the Dassault Systems table. Right? We start with the demand management. And with the demand management, you can perform a load capacity analysis using the manufacturing planner tool And this tool allows you to perform a load capacity analysis from a 3-month period to a 12-month period. And the detailed scheduling tool that is being presented today addresses how to schedule realistically for your shop floor, for the different departments of the shop floor, the daily production activities or a weekly production activity. And you can go up to 4 weeks if you have a firm demand. So what is Ortems scheduling? What does it need? First of all, we model it based on your business processes, taking into account your production constraints and planning processes. And once the modeling is done, we optimize it using a very powerful algorithm that is inbuilt into the Ortems scheduling solution. The performance will be measured against inbuilt KPIs, and it can help you to find out which is the best possible solution or a combination of solutions that addresses your production needs. One of my personal favorites of the Ortems solution is the interactive tool that helps us to simulate what-if scenarios. It's very graphical, very interactive. You can drag and drop, and you can see an immediate impact of the change that you've made. The solution also offers a collaborative tool, meaning multiple schedulers can work on the same data at the same time without having to build multiple different versions and then start comparing. This is one of the advantages. Okay, let's take a look at what is needed in terms of master data and transactional data for the Ortems solution. Right? The master data will comprise of product masters, bill of material, recipes, and process requirements, which can come from an ERP system. Right? The equipment data also can be fed from an ERP system, or it can be entered into Ortems as a master data. Right? Then we're looking at operators, the skill matrix, the plant calendars, the mission calendars. Keep in mind that you can define as many calendars as you want in the scheduling engine. It is not just one plant calendar, but you can go with a calendar for a particular group of machines or for an individual mission if necessary. And then the raw material stock, right? The current inventory, the inbound inventory. And then we look at setup times, we look at plant down times, we look at tool changeovers, and then we take into account the request that's coming in from the ERP system. And then Ortems comes up with a production schedule that is achievable, that is visible, that is optimized, and agile. And you can perform multiple what-if simulations to come up with the best solution. With this, we will start taking a look at some of the screens of the Ortems production scheduler solution. Okay. A work order Gantt chart, as shown here, represents all the production shop floor orders that have been released or that have been scheduled to the floor. The green triangle here represents the earliest start date, and the red triangle represents the due date. In the top half of the screen, you see the demand that has come in, the forecast, the sales orders, and Ortems applies a netting rule to come up with the final demand for the floor. It takes into account the inventory, it takes into account any work orders that are in progress, and comes up with a schedule that is achievable. Okay. The mission Gantt chart shows you all the missions in your plant, and the blocks that you see here, the different color blocks, represent an operation on a particular mission. So if we look at the first mission, lathe 1, it's got a bigger chunk of operation, followed by another chunk, followed by another chunk. The gray blocks here represent the time when the mission is not running. The small gaps you see in between the color blocks on a mission indicate the setup time or a tool changeover time. The Ortems production scheduler solution allows you to drag and drop. Right? For example, you can move operation from lathe 1 to lathe 2 by just dragging and dropping. And while you do this, you will see the impact on your KPI. Will this change make things better, or does it not make things better? So this simulation comparison feature of the Ortems production scheduler solution will help the scheduler determine the best possible production schedule that is achievable and realistic. Within the mission Gantt chart, the details of a particular operation are available. You do not need to go to another screen or perform another report to get these details. The details include the quantity to be produced, the start date of the operation, the end date of the operation, the details of the operation, the production rate per hour, setup time, etc. As you can see, there are many tabs out here, and the data for an operation is so detailed that just by clicking on a single block, it gives you everything that is associated with the operation. Within the machine Gantt chart, you can also see the bill of material and a production flow synchronization. It means from the lower subassembly to the final assembly, Ortems builds links. Ortems uses a synchronized resource planner module to synchronize all the bill of materials levels in one loop, meaning that you'll always have a realistic and feasible planning regarding material flows. The brown arrows here represent a supply link, which means the preceding operation produces a product that becomes a component of the next operation. The green arrows here represent a dependent linkage. The next operation can only be started after the previous operation has been completed. Every modification that occurs on a single operation will be applied to the whole chain. Let's take an example. If this work order is postponed, all linked work orders will be moved accordingly to respect these bill of material links, which is shown at the bottom of the screen. At the top of the screen, you're seeing the current one, and just by moving an operation out because of constraints, because of maybe the mission is down or because of labor absences, Ortems knows that the final product has to be moved out, and it tells you exactly that when it will be delivered. Now, this new date could be in accordance or within the limit of your targeted customer date, or maybe not. So if it is not, then the scheduler will have to take additional actions. If it is a mission problem, maybe try and get the mission up and running earlier. If it's a labor problem, how do we address that? Do we add more capacity? So these are the visualization tools that are available within the Ortems production scheduler. Okay. An operation could have a setup time, and it is also likely that the same operation performed on a different product could induce a tool changeover, which takes considerable amount of time. Ortems production scheduler solution gives us the flexibility to define setup time for every operation as needed. And tool changeover times can be defined as a matrix. Changing from tool 1 to tool 2 could be different from changing from tool 1 to tool 3 or tool 3 to tool 2. So the Ortems matrix allows us to define multiple combinations, and the scheduling engine takes this into account when scheduling your work orders on the shop floor. Ortems production scheduler solution also allows for the definition of labor as well as skills required to perform an operation. Using this feature, the solution can help determine the optimum labor required for the operations depending on the demand. This also allows for simulation of labor absences, or in some cases, because of higher demand, it can predict the overtime required to meet the customer target dates. The material Gantt chart is also built into the Ortems production scheduler solution, and it shows the inventory just not for the finished products. It also shows the inventory of the semi-finished product and the raw materials, and these are displayed as a Gantt chart. The red blocks at the bottom indicate a shortage. This visualization helps the schedulers to easily validate the bottlenecks and take appropriate action without having to look at numbers and do number crunching to determine a bottleneck. You can also perform a detailed material stock analysis, and the solution will tell you if a material is available or not. What is trending? What is the trend of the consumption? Are we doing good? Are we going up? It gives you the exact stock coverage analysis, and it points out material shortages, and it also will trigger overstock alerts. Ortems production scheduler solution can also be configured to send out purchase requisition alerts to an ERP system. Now, keep in mind that this is just an alert, and it will not create a purchase requisition or a request in the ERP system. This is one of the advantages. With Ortems production scheduler solution, you can do multiple what-if planning simulations. On the screen, I've shown 5 different simulations that are performed. And every time we do a simulation, the KPIs are measured. And the scheduler can see easily, and it's a very visible chart, which simulation is the best for the manufacturing flow. With simulations, you can check, for example, you can check a resource overload. That could be a mission or it could be labor. You can look at the capacity utilizations and make a decision on whether to increase or decrease capacity. You can introduce an unplanned demand. For example, a customer comes up with a new request. He says, I need 5,000 pieces by the 15th of next month. Instead of creating an order in the ERP system and putting it down to the scheduling engine, you can manually create this demand, artificial demand, and check what happens to your production schedule. Do we need more capacity? Can we meet the target dates without having to rely on an ERP order? You can also perform simulations of late supplies from a supplier and check if the new plan meets the organization's KPI. These are just some of the features of the Ortems production schedule solution. Thank you very much for your attention. And with this, I turn this presentation over to Eric Ibarra.
Thank you, Prabhu, for explaining how the challenges that the scheduler face every day can be solved with a right business processes settings and with a very good solution as the DELMIA Ortems. Let me talk to our listeners about the proof of concept. What are they getting after a proof of concept as the one that we are suggesting right now, using their own setting and their own master data from their own company? At the end of the proof of concept, you will be able to address in your selected environment the reception of the demand, understanding the variation of the demand, manage it in a very friendly screen view with drags and drops. Also, as a second point, you will be able to accomplish a system-based synchronization of the different levels of your manufacturing operations at multi-level bill of material. And this is obviously considering what resources are required for each of the operations. As well, you will be able to simulate multiple planning scenarios and compare them by the specific KPI, the key performance indicator that you consider within your organization as the highest priority for the particular location. As Prabhu showed a few minutes ago, that will be very easy to compare different scenarios within one single screen. And as planning for the days go, it not always goes 100% as planned. You will be able to replan when workers or the stocks are not available as originally planned. This is very key. And all of these scenarios that we just talked about, yeah, only if it is necessary, will give you the necessary intelligent information to potentially work in the recovery scenarios. Imagine at the end of your proof of concept, you will be able to have a complete outcome of your specific detail finite scheduling at the floor. Yeah. Now it is important now to know a little bit more about the how. Yeah. And let me go to the next slide, and then we can talk about that one. Then proof of concept. Then there is a very we selected just a few steps to explain you how we will go through this one. In that way, you know how to accomplish this. The step number 1 and step number 2 is for understanding your main critical issues, and also what location and product lines have these specific critical issues. this will drive to our step number 3, where you and us, as subject matter experts of the tool and the solutions, will set together the scope, defining what manufacturing models, what data, and what standard interfaces with your ERP and MES systems are required. Then in step 4 and number 5, then we will go to the specific paperwork to have a baseline of license agreements and implementation services that will guide us to a very clear, no surprises POC implementation, proof of concept implementation in 4 weeks. And then you can evaluate the solution within the next 4 weeks after the implementation. Then let's go a little bit more in a more granular regarding the methodology of the proof of concept. I will not bother you today with the explanations, every single step and task group of the methodology, but I will highlight 3 specific points. Number 1, for us, it's very important the business process alignment in order to have a successful proof of concept. Number 2, this is key that you will be leveraging the expertise of DELMIA and R3D to provide the best of the knowledge in the short period of time. And the third one is that I wanted to highlight is that your participation is very, very important. Why? Because you will be signing off in the outcome of the specific implementation, and also you will be proving the concept after the implementation. Then with this one, I would like to switch topics to partnership. Yeah, and what we are talking about in partnership is that R3D and the Dassault system has worked for multiple years, but the year of 2018, we consolidated our DELMIA partnership. We leverage R3D expertise in manufacturing operations management with the global leader in manufacturing operations management solutions with the brand called DELMIA. Yeah, and just to talk a little bit about numbers from R3D company, we have been 24 years in the market. We have more than 480 professionals. We are global. We have global capabilities, but with a very strong presence in North America. Again, our core is manufacturing. Now, we want you to be part of our partnership, as we have done with most of our customers. And this slide is just showing a little bit of what are the logos that you can potentially recognize in the market that are our customers. Now, let's switch a little bit the topic to and let's talk about the global solution leader, Dassault system. And Sarah, could you please honor us with the Dassault and DELMIA company introduction?
Sure. Thank you, Eric, and welcome everybody. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to, next slide, please. So for those of you that may not be aware, I'm happy to introduce Dassault Systems to you. We are the 3D Experience company. This presentation that I will have demonstrates what this means. First, we are a purpose-driven company. We think of progress and innovation in terms of the balance and impact that we bring to the world. And we do it by harmonizing product nature and life that essentially lies at the heart of everything we do and what we bring to the world. So that's, as the picture suggests, that's our guiding principle in how we do business. Second is the people. So we have about 20,000 passionate people from 140 nationalities across the globe who are at the heart of the company. And we all share the same values, the same passion for innovation. And last but not the least, we have a large R&D team across 69 laboratories worldwide, but it's all working as one unit of our overall R&D focus. Dassault Systems is the largest PLM and 3D experience market in the world. We have about 270,000 customers in 11 industries worldwide. You know, we work with our customers and partners in order to provide the solutions and innovation that we bring to the market. Next slide, please. Our legacy goes back in 1981, where we started off as a PLM, as a CAD solution for 3D design. Then we moved on to digital mockup in 1989. Introduced our PLM solution in 1999 with our 3D PLM. And then as the industry grew, different industries around the world, the consumers demanded more experiences in terms of how these products are being used by them. So we brought in the concept of the usage experience on top of our product, on the product offerings of our customers, and we introduced the 3D experience platform. What essentially it is an innovation platform that brings a complete portfolio of applications, customer experiences, learning, and research into one platform that helps drive solutions. And as I always say, nothing is exemplified better than how Apple came up with their products, which essentially may have the same features and functions as many other products, but definitely has a much richer user experience. And in 2020, we extended that platform into the virtual twin for humans, and we are providing solutions that helps virtually design and simulate even human organs and cure and medical for the medical industry. And we are bringing success to a lot of these companies that are in the process of research and development of drugs and vaccines for COVID-19. We have almost a 60% share in that space today. So that's what we are. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have several brands, as you see around that round picture, and we call this the 3D experience platform. And we have got several brands. On the left are our design and CAD platforms, which includes CATIA, SolidWorks, and all that. But of concern to us today is DELMIA. And I will have one slide to say what DELMIA is. But DELMIA is essentially the brand, which is the portfolio of applications that provides solutions for manufacturing. And it includes several different portfolio of applications that I will talk about in the next slide. We also serve a number of different industries That includes both complex, discrete, repetitive, batch, process industries, and of course, as you may well relate, depending on the industry that you come from, the manufacturing processes and the requirements are very diverse, and that's why having a platform that kind of lets you configure solutions that is needed for your industry and your company within those industries is paramount. So therefore, we are able to be market leaders in not just one industry or in one set of applications. We provide end-to-end solutions for almost all the different industries that we have. And last but not the least, we have 12 geofield operations. Basically, this is a platform for collaboration that we provide, and it is available to both customers and our potential customers. And we help you connect to our partners like R3D and with Dassault Systems Expert as you embark in a journey to embrace Dassault solutions. So for those of you in the call who would be willing to engage with us and get more information and provide your inputs, we would like to make this a collaborative journey right from the start, and offer what we call the if we loop, the loop that you see in the picture, and that is to give you the complete support from both our DS and partner organizations. Next slide, please. This is a slide where we talk about the different solution portfolios of what I explained in the previous slide as DELMIA, which is our manufacturing portfolio of applications. We categorize our applications within the manufacturing solution portfolio into 3 buckets. The first are the modeling applications, which helps you model all your operations right from your process planning to your manufacturing bill of material to your work instructions, plant layout, simulating your overall operations, making sure you load level your production lines. All those happen in the virtual 3D model utilizing our modeling solutions. And this is called digital manufacturing. So it's all happening digitally, and therefore you have a much faster new product introduction. You have a much faster turnaround times for any engineering changes, and so on. And last but not the least, you're able to release processes on the floor that have already been tested digitally to make sure that you have resolved all bottlenecks and would be able to achieve the maximum throughput and efficiency in your production. Next is optimization. There are 2 sets of applications here. One that helps you do overall logistics planning and transportation and so on. And the other is around production planning and scheduling, which is the topic for today's webinar that Prabhu presented earlier. So that's the optimized bucket. So that includes network planning, logistics, and planning your overall transportation. But on the shop floor side, we have production planning and scheduling for getting optimized plans and order execution. And last is the perform, where we provide a slew of applications that goes beyond a traditional MES, which is typically manufacturing, production, and quality. But we also provide shop floor warehouse management, finished goods warehouse management, maintenance, labor and attendance tracking. So all the applications that you need in the shop floor. And therefore, as Gartner calls it, we call that platform as manufacturing operations management that provides end-to-end execution capabilities on the shop floor. So again, model, optimize, perform. And this all ties into the overall what we call the virtual twin. You see the V+R there. So you perfect all your plans and your processes virtually, release it in the floor, use the optimization engine to optimize those production orders and execute the most optimal set of orders and operations, and therefore getting the maximum out of your resources. Next slide, please. So I guess that's pretty much it. Turning it back to you then, Rob.
Thank you, Saurav. I really appreciate that. That was a lot of good information. We now have some time for questions, and we have some questions from the audience. The first one is, we heard the mention of KPIs many times during the presentation. Can you elaborate on the available number of KPIs and what is required to make them active?
Hi, let me take this question. The Ortem solution has 35 inbuilt KPIs. There is no special activation that is required. The KPIs become active depending on the master data and transactional data. For example, if cost is not relevant to your manufacturing industry for the scheduling side of it and is not maintained, then the KPIs related to cost will not show up any numbers. So it's as simple as that. Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhu. The next question, can you elaborate on purchase recommendations sent to ERP? How are they calculated and managed?
Let me take that one too. Okay. The objective here is to allow replenishment of raw materials at regular time intervals based on the planning application's purchase recommendations. Again, this is only a purchase recommendation. Okay. To make these recommendations, the solution uses the following principles. If the planned stock on hand of an item falls below a desired stock level for a particular period, then the application issues a purchase recommendation when the work in progress is saved. The status of the purchase recommendation is projected and it is not yet accepted by ERP. On the ERP side, the material planners can take a decision of whether to expedite an incoming delivery or maybe create a new purchase requisition. The application calculates a quantity and a date for the requirement based on the item information that is already set in the data model. For example, you can have a raw material where the MRP policy is target stock. So here the order quantity and the date are taken into account against the values set for the target stock. And for those items where the MRP policy is stock coverage, then the order date is taken into account along with the target values set for the stock coverage. So these are all inbuilt algorithms. There's no programming required. It is just a question of telling the system what kind of inventory control you want. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhu. The next question, we use ERP. Do you have the tools for the necessary integration?
Hey Rob, this is Manoj. I will take this question. Ortem's solution integrate bidirectionally with ERP. For example, we download orders which are not based on constraint, right? Or you can say that it is based on infinite capacity. We can download those orders, refine it based on the constraint you configure in the system, and those orders can be uploaded back into the ERP for further processing or financial processing purpose. Now, specific to SAP, we more than 50% time we integrate with SAP, and Ortem's complement ERP solution here. We have, as specifically about SAP side, we have BAPI as well as iDoc adapters. SAP integration is very proven. We are certified on SAP integration since 1997. We interface with R3, 4.6, ECC6, S4HANA. Other ERP is we have something called Visual Interface Configurator. It is a very visual tool. And this tool will help our users or solution our customers to integrate with ERP. As name indicates, you can configure visually, you can configure interfaces, you can maintain them, and many cases you may not have a ERP in your manufacturing. You may have some third-party system with which you are integrating. In that case also, there is no coding required, and tool offer very easy way to maintain and create interfaces. Thank you.
Thanks, Manoj. Next question. What are the different constraints that can be built into the production scheduling solution of Ortems?
I will take this question as well. With Ortems solution, customer has the ability to configure various manufacturing constraints. As a broad classification, it can be material level constraint like lead time to procure, managing your inventory, stock levels, or putting constraint as what is my work in progress material level. It can be machine level constraint like equipment availability, setup time, maintenance schedule. It can be labor related constraint like operator availability. If there are any planned or unplanned leaves, we can integrate with shift calendars. We can also configure operator skill, which is required to perform the operation. Ortem solution can also take inputs from manufacturing execution like real-time schedule, if we are running behind, if there is an unplanned downtime, or if there is an unplanned part shortage, those inputs also can be given to the Ortems. Yeah, it's a very flexible system.
Great, thanks very much. The next question, does DELMIA offer support for implementation and post-implementation?
This is Saurabh. Since I come from the services world within Dassault for last more than 20 years, let me take that. So we are happy to let you know that we have not only a very skilled services organization that lets you implement our solutions, but we also have certification programs and very skilled partner services organizations. R3D is one of them in North America, and R3D is also expanding in Europe. So who provide professional services for implementation of our solutions. As far as support is concerned, the same thing. Of course, Dassault provides several levels of support options that you can sign up for, starting with 5x8, so 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, to 5x24 and 7x24, different levels of support. Our partners also provide, and this is called level 3 support, which is the product level support. If you need more solution support in terms of your day-to-day production issues and stuff that you are working on, or any configuration issues that you may have, then our partner R3D also provides what is called level 2 support or application support. And of course, we work directly with the level 1 support, which is your own production IT team that supports the end users on the shop floor. So in short, yes, we have an ecosystem of both services and post-implementation support for our partners, both from Dassault as well as from our partners like R3D. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Saurabh. That seems to be all our questions for today. And I think we'll wrap it up. I'd like to thank everybody for joining our webinar. If you have any questions or if you need any more information, please feel free to go to our website at www.r3d-int.com, or you can email Eric and Prabhu directly and their email addresses are up on your screen right now. Again, thank you very much for your time. This will be the end of our webinar. I'd like to remind everybody to join us for part 3 of this series, Manufacturing Planning and Scheduling, the solution demonstration, and that will be on December the 16th. Stay tuned to our website and our social media channels for this webinar to be reposted, and that way you'll be able to rewatch it and share it as well. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and have a very good day.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everybody.